Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.
Hi, and welcome back to the Conscious Day Trader. Today we're going to break down another pound USD trade. It was a very good trade today. It was quite an easy trade for Mondays. As I've said in the past, Mondays and Fridays can be tricky, but it also can be good trading because what we're looking for in terms of ICT 2022, we're looking for volatile times where there's been movement in the pound dollar, and then we're looking at that liquidity draws, we're looking at sell side and buy side liquidity being taken out, and obvious areas where we'll be interested in going in. Today we had a profit for 438.50. Let's jump on to our MT5, and as you can see on the top there, we've done a withdrawal today of 5,000. That was super easy, just one click from the fibers and exports, and it will be in my bank account between 1 to 2 days. So I'm super fond of the fibers, or what they stand for, and they're paying me every month, so we're sharing the profits from my trading. At the moment the split is 75% to me and they make the rest, but also every challenge or milestone, if you want, that we're reaching. And if you haven't seen that video, go and watch the last video, because we talked about the plan on how we're going to get to 4 million, which is my plan to be trading. So enough of that. So the trades that we see, they were short, and there were mainly 2 positions and only 1 reposition, so super happy with that. My first entry was 124478, and my best entry was 124557. So what I'm going to do, because I haven't done that in the previous videos, it will be nice for the new followers that have seen this, but also for the old followers to start getting used to doing this on a daily basis. As you can see on the green on MT5, that's the area where I was anticipating the price to come to, and look at that. It literally came and took that. The top end was a bit lucky. I wasn't aiming for anything there, but we were looking for that liquidity draw above these equal highs here, and we're going to go into detail on how you can identify that from the ICT 2022 mentorship, which is a free course online on YouTube, but also how you can get an entry, how we're going to place our previous daily bias, and what we're going to look for in terms of why was I short and why I wasn't long. A lot of people made money out of this move here, long, or even this one on the daily. Why did I not take that trade? We're going to find out in a little bit, but before we do that, please go and subscribe to the channel, because about 50% of the people following and watching these videos are not subscribed. So I'm guessing that you just haven't pressed the button. So go and press the subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. And when we reach 5,000, I have stated this to you guys, that we're going to open a community. It looks like most of you wanted a Discord community, which I'm familiar with because I'm a part of the Scruffy Trader community. So we can do that. If you, I will put a poll when we get closer to the 5,000 subscribers. We're only, 1,600 subscribers away from doing that. So make sure you subscribe and like this video to promote it, and to get it to everyone that needs to see this information, especially all the ICT traders that think that they can trade ICT, but they still need some understanding of how to trade fair value gaps, what fair value gaps are valid, what fair value gaps you shouldn't be taking, what is a liquidity draw, how to get all this information. It comes free for you guys in this channel, and I'm planning to keep on doing this as long as there is value. Enough of that. So let's jump onto the trading view, and we're going to break down the pound dollar. I'm going to clean out the page, so we've got a clean chart so you to start with, and you can follow me if you want. So go ahead and open trading view, and let's go and see how we broke down that trade today. Okay, so here we are. This is always painful because it's a lot of work that I've gone in the last weeks to just delete the chart clean, and we're just going to do that because I want to show you the whole process. It's only fair for you, in order to understand what we're doing, is to follow the process. So we've got a clean chart. The first thing that I always do with the pound dollar, I have it in my mind because I only trade the pair. So I know exactly how the waves, what happened last week, what happened last month, what was the extreme low. And you will do that as well if you get used to trading one pair. If you trade more than one pair, like 3 and 4, there's no problem with that. It just means that your attention to detail will just have to be split to multiple assets. So I'm a one hit, if you want, trader on the pound dollar. I understand it, I understand the news in the UK, and I can follow every single wave that's happening without me opening the charts because I know what's happened in the previous week. The pound dollar is like a continuous book. So when you open the book, and you've got a fresh book and you're starting on day 1, you're starting to learn the asset. But as you go down each chapter, you understand a little bit about how it moves, what is the ranges, what are the ranges, what is the worst case scenario that can happen on swan days, how much can it move, so on. You start and getting a relationship with the pair. And that's really useful. And in terms of like the book, imagine now you're on chapter 3 and you go and trade something new, like the Aussie dollar. Now you're back onto page 1, but you're still trying to find a trade like you do in the pound dollar. However, you haven't built that rapport or that confidence in trading that different asset. So I would definitely recommend, if you're a new trader or even an intermediate trader or advanced trader, I would recommend everyone to stick with one asset, maximum 2, so you can have your full attention onto what you're doing and not worrying about, oh, how is this asset moving in certain cycles and so on. So, and it's a good market. It moves every single day and it pays me every single day for 40 pips. So I would definitely recommend that if you're looking for a market, pound dollar, cheap market, and it moves. So let's look at what we got here. We're going to jump onto the monthly. Onto the monthly, and we can take out, because we're so far out, we're just going to keep a clean chart. We're just going to look at price action now. So if you were going to draw buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity on the monthly, where are the 2 obvious areas that we've had? So we've seen that drop, and then we've seen a consolidation into this fair value gap here. One, it tapped it into there. So you can put, if you want, this fair value gap up to there, extend it through, and you can see that it broke down, came to retest and filled the fair value gap on the monthly, pushed back down, and now it failed to break this low here. What did it do? Push back up into the bottom of that fair value gap and then broke lower. It took out liquidity below this area here. So that will be called sell side liquidity. Pushed back up into the fair value gap, created a double top, which is quite interesting. And we're going to talk about that. A triple top actually around the 1-4. Let's see the high of that candle. 142,504. So pretty much 142,500. So that is a level that is interesting. So we'll put that high there, extend it across. So what we're going to do is going to add that on monthly, and let's just put the price in 142,504. And we're going to add that in the middle there. So that price there is quite interesting because of the top range of the fair value gap. It's not a round number, so you probably just change that to 400. We just need to change the coordinates as well. So we'll just drop that to 500 and drop that to 500. There we go. So we have our line top side of interest. Now, after this moment here that we can identify, so we started with the fair value gap, and this, let's add this fair value gap is on a monthly level. So we don't have a monthly in here. So all I'm going to do is take the hourly and double click on the box, and then I'm going to change that into monthly fair value gap. Okay, so we found that. We found the liquidity draw here, pushed up, and then came down and took out this low here. If we extend that out, you can see it came down below the break. Now let's go on to our left side. Is there anything in price that we can come and match this? So we see this area here, these lows here. Now I won't be surprised if this is very close to the other price that we're looking at. And we go to current price. I think it was 103, so just tapped back into that area. on the lows and above the 1, obviously, and is pushing upwards. Now let's add a Fibonacci in there just to see what it looks like. We're currently just hovering at the 50%, breaking on the upper side towards that 61.8. So if you want, we can add that level in there as well. We'll add that 61.8 and let's change it into 61.8 daily. We're going to call that monthly. And then we're going to take another line of that and we're going to copy that onto the 50. And all we're going to do is just change that to 50. So that's quite interesting because we're going to see those two. These are the most interesting things that we want to know. Obviously the 76.4, but it's a monthly. So because the price is very close to the monthly 61.8 and of the retracement of the top there, which is the top end of the fair value gap, we can take this out and we know exactly where we are in that arena. We're currently sitting in that golden zone of the Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so then we've got that level that got hit and we don't need that. We just wanted to see that. So we're going to go down to the weekly and let's zoom in and see what's happening on the weekly. Now, in terms of weeks, we did have that push up. It created the equal high that we were discussing for like weeks or even months. We were discussing this. It was since the double top was created in 23rd of January. So we've been talking about this for a while. And this area here, if you haven't seen the previous videos, we draw that as a liquidity draw above this, and we had the equal highs that hasn't been taken out. So that's, we knew this area here got taken out. So in this picture, we're anticipating some retracement. And before it targets what area? This area here, and especially the 61.8. So this is a weekly level, but we have a lot of things that are coming together. We have this move here that hasn't been retraced, obviously, and this fair value gap here on the weekly. So now you have this fair value gap and this fair value gap, and it corresponds with the 61.8. So I'm going to choose, just for ease, to show that fair value gap there. I'm going to go and label that weekly fair value gap. Press OK, and there we go. So we have that. We've got this 61.9. So this is an area where it's very interesting for the price to go and take. Why? Because we have a fair value gap, weekly fair value gap. We have a 61.8 retracement on the monthly level, but we also have buy side liquidity above these equal highs here. So if we take that there, and we're going to label that buy side liquidity. So now we have one gray zone, one blue line, which is the fair value, the 61.8 retracement, and buy side liquidity. Three areas that the price can target. That's on the upside. What's on the downside? So we did talk about this liquidity draw that got taken out by this move here. So if it retraces, if this price retraces, is there anything on the weekly that is obvious that is going to retrace to? We have a fair value gap there, and we don't have another. So I'm going to introduce that fair value gap there, and we can use the shortcut that someone taught me, which is great, on Command on Max. And then you can go here and add another fair value gap, and we're going to change that to weekly. All right, so we have a fair value gap that can target back down. And what do we have below here? We need to remove this a little bit so we can see what's happening. That side liquidity got taken out. We have sell side liquidity here. Now, I'm going to use, this is, we're quite far away from that price, because remember, we're on a weekly chart. So this is like 500, 600 pips. So that would take a while for it to retrace. So I'm not going to add the buy sell side liquidity, because it will probably be obvious when it comes to, because we're anticipating for this to come first down to here, or 50% first and then down here. But what I am going to put in to keep an eye on is this price here, which is a fair value gap. It's a weekly fair value gap right there. So we have two areas on the weekly that this can come and target on the downside. You see how we're honing in onto the current price. We're building the story of the pound dollar. Like we said, that book, we're changing these pages. We had this page of the equal high. Now we have the page of the buy side liquidity, monthly and fair value gap. The page of if it comes down, we have this. In next chapter, let's say this price did this. Imagine if you're coming to the pound dollar for the first time, and I have all this knowledge about what it's done previously, all those pages of the book that we've kind of filled. I'm in such a better place to understand what are the possibilities for the pound dollar to do, just because I know what's happened in the past and I'm in tune with the waves of the market. If I just see this, and I've seen this drop here, and I'm new to the pound dollar, I might be saying, wow, this is breaking to the downside. But if you know the story that this has had a low on 103 and it's had a potential break to go back to the 125 and retarget that 61.8, that picture is a better picture than just coming in from scratch to the charts. And that's why I don't trade any other assets, and I stick with pound dollar because it's working for me every day, and there's no need to change for the sake of trading more assets. When something is working, bottle it and keep it safe, because that's what's going to make you consistent and pay the bills. So let's take that out. We're down to the weekly still, so let's go to the daily. Daily kind of looks similar. Now we're starting to start to look into the 22 mentorship entries of levels. So here we are, Monday, and what we're going to do is zoom into this area here, and this is the candle we're interested in. Last Friday, obviously Saturday and Sunday are synthetic markets, and we don't add any information from that. So what we're going to do is go on to a horizontal ray, add one line there, and I'm going to change that to my favorite color. I always add the daily high as a red, and then we're going to go to the bottom there, and let's just check that is magnet there, and we're going to change the bottom to daily low. And very quickly we want to find the 50% level from those two highs and lows. Okay, so the 50 level is there. That we're going to change that to horizontal line and add that in. Change that to equilibrium, and now we have set our 3 lines that we're interested for really badly. Let's zoom that in. There we go. So that is the area of interest for us. Look at that. The price came down, tapped straight into equilibrium. It just happens every day. These daily levels are something that get respected a lot. As you can see here, we also have a little bit of information around the pound dollar. US dollar mixed early Monday. Focus on GDP, PCE prices this week while Fed is quiet. Sterling steady against dollar. BOE policy in Bank of England policy in focus. So this is the areas that we can tune into in terms of news, and you can see on the map when these things are coming up on the charts. But also I use baby pips for the news. It's quite good, and it has all the information that I'm looking for. So what we're going to do now is, now we've got our daily high and low, we're going to go down to the 15-minute, and this is where we're going to add the replay so I can show you exactly what my thought process was for today's trade, which is currently happening. And we might even see if there's an opportunity to get another trade, because I'm really liking what I'm seeing in terms of price action. So we might see a live trade if it shows us that, and there's a potential live trade there. So let's go back to we're in London, and we're pushing back into 7 o'clock. Okay, so this is what we were seeing. During the Asian market, and we're going to add during the Asian market, we saw the break and the double top of that high. That was my main interest. Okay, with algorithmic trading and with what we've learned from the ICT 2022 mentorship, we know that these areas, if you take the zoom and you go there, this double pretty equal top here, open and close at the same price, is an area where we're interested, very, very interested. So we're going to take that and put it above there. Now this is buy side liquidity. If you're wondering what buy side liquidity means, it means that a lot of people that have buy stops there, the market will want to go and take them out because they're easy pickings. So people who've been short and trailing their stops, these are the areas, buy side liquidity, that will set their stops up for either break even, or if this is, let's say it's a swing trader who doesn't want to see the price break above high and close with a tiny bit of profit, these are areas where they would place their stops. We've seen this area, and that was my target of the trade. So what I was looking for is, if I want to go to the upper side, what is the dollar index going to show? Now, we're not going to do the whole process on the dollar index because we're going to need a couple of videos to show you this at the same time. But I've already marked up the dollar index. All we're going to do is use the replay and go back to that same time that we were looking at the London Open. Now, on the right side here, I'm just looking because I've currently entered another position, and I'll show you that position as we go in. Just because the setup is too good to miss. So we will see that as it's happening live. So for the people that like live trading, this is as close as you're going to get it to me being live. Right, so we've had the equilibrium coming back up to equilibrium. Okay guys, what can I say? I'm probably really tired. I did a whole analysis on the dollar index. I also showed a live trade, but OBS decided not to share the same screen. It happens, it's pissed me off, but you can see me closing the trade, I think. But unfortunately, this happens. Spend about 30 minutes giving you some really cool content and a live trade as well. So I'm so sorry. I think it's the universe saying that I shouldn't be doing live trades, but it worked out. So we ended up making some profits. So let's continue this video, and hopefully in the future this doesn't happen again. Okay, so here we are. These are the two positions that we've had. And we're going to see now, this is quite interesting. I've set my take profit on this. Let's go down to the 5 minute. We saw this breakdown, retraced back into these fair value gaps, pushed down, came down, took out the lows. So it's highly likely that it's going to take the highs here. We move that across, take the highs here, and then we're going to see if it's going to keep on going to take the next high on the top there. That's an area where I'll be rethinking about repositioning. Now, the reason I got in this is because of this area here. I was really interested in this fair value gap. I did get a bit of slippage, so I didn't get my perfect entry. So these are the two positions that we have to deal with. Now, we're still in premium price, and we're trading. If we go back on trading view in a second, we're trading in that area where we want to see price come down to equilibrium. So we're still working our way. Let's go on to the 1 hour. You can see this is going to come high to retest the first structure point, which will be this high here. If that gets broken, we can see the obvious areas on the left side that we need to manage into. Now what we're going to do is switch on to trading view. So when I have a live trade, I always look on trading view. We can see, obviously this is the morning. I know everyone is interested now in the live trade, but we're going to break down the short, where it came from, and then we're going to lead into the live trade that's happening now. So let's see. So we've got the break on the upper side, and then it came down. So we traded this from the high here down to this area here, and we got 20 and 20 pips on two positions, so 40 pips overall, and happy days. Now what happened? This came and retraced, and we're going to put a bit of a bigger time frame so we can see it clearly. We had a fair value gap there that this came and filled to the pip, and then delivered another push to retest the lows below here. Was below the lows here. If I cross that over, you can see a fair value gap there. So this is an area where I am interested to short the market too. Fair value gap, which is on the 5 minutes. So this is going to push down, and then it comes back up, and this area here is quite interesting for me because I was short. If I wasn't short on the highs, I would definitely be taking positions into this one, and into this one. Ideally, you want to see it break the lows, so you have the perfect structure of ICT. It did there, and now it's pushing back up, took out the highs of here, and we're going to see how that is going to react. So this is a good opportunity to talk about a little bit about how to trade a position. Let's see where our position is. Okay, so that is the area of our first position, and then we have one more position, which is the 14469. So we're going to duplicate this line, and we're going to go up to 69. There we go. So these are the two positions that we've got entered into the trade, and we're looking for a push down to equilibrium. Now you see this price action pushing a bit higher, and some of you might be like, oh my god, what's happening? My trade is against me, I don't know what to do. This is where you need to be calm. Trading ICT, you're never going to be timing the market exactly perfect. So what you need to do is to look at it logically and say, where is the next target? Obviously it came up and took liquidity above high here. Now if it doesn't deliver all that push, it's going to come higher. Where is the next target? It would be these equal highs here. So this is an area. So now what the question is this an area we can start thinking about repositioning? And if you're wondering what repositioning is something that is how I trade how I manage my trades. So out of these two positions, I will look to reposition one of them with a better price. Now the question is, where do I reposition? Could I reposition on that fair value gap there? Yes. Is it risky though if this doesn't come down and push higher, that I'm going to be exposed with three positions? Absolutely it is. So I'm not going to take that position. I'm going to wait. If we wait up to here, how much is the heat? It's 15 pips, so $160 per position. As you know, my risk management allows $2,500, so that is absolutely fine. And what we're going to look on the left side now, when you go to the left side and you have a lot of information on the 5 minute, you want to go onto a higher time frame. So we're going to go on a higher time frame to see. Now it's obvious where the next target will be. This high here. Right, so we're going to grab a box here. That's one target, and that's going to be a sell side liquidity, and that target is going to be also sell side liquidity. Okay, so we have the previous daily low, and let's see where we are in the price. So we're going to go down to the 15 minute again. Right, I need to change the color on this. Normally I have these red, sorry if you've been seeing that as green, but that's green, and that's daily low. So that's going to be green, that's going to be high. So as you can see, we found another opportunity to come from a previous daily high premium price with targets on the lower side, which we're aiming for. Now what happens with the open? You normally see that Judas move, which you currently saw, and it took out liquidity above here. What are we anticipating? Now it's finding support below the previous daily high, so that's acting as support. Now if that pushes higher, this is the next area, and this is a 15 minute fair value gap, or actually it's our buy side liquidity, which we're looking for to take. Now this move has happened, so we can move this to the left side. That was that target. Now we had another one. Actually, let's use this one since it's out of the picture. This was taken out by that move there. Now what we're anticipating is price to at least come back down to these fair value gap here, and that would have given us how many pips? 5. We're looking for 10 pips. So that move is what we're looking for. Let's do an arrow, or we can put some fake ghost position to show you where we need to go. Okay, so we are looking, let's just check that. We're going to take the measuring tool, and we're looking from this position down for 10 pips, which will be pretty much below the lows. Let's say the lows of this here. So that's the move that we're anticipating to happen. But are we worried about this move in this moment of time? No. what we're looking for is to see what is the pound dollar going to do next. Is it taking liquidity here? Is it taking liquidity here? Is it pushing even higher? Why? Because we've got, this is buy side liquidity. Buy side liquidity there and buy side liquidity there. Okay, so then the question is, do you do reposition on this buy side liquidity, this buy side liquidity, or this buy side liquidity? How many pips is that buy side liquidity on the top there? 8 pips, 15 pips, 27 pips. So now if I'm 27 pips wrong, which with my 2 positions from the low, it will be a bit higher because they're lower. So let's take that. That's $230 wrong. If it goes to the top there, this is $340, so $600 in heat. Now, can I manage from this position going down to these? Absolutely. So there's no reason for me to increase my size on this fair value gap here. Now, you might be wondering, this is very confusing, and it is confusing because I'm giving you a bit of a glimpse on how I do my trading and how I adjust my repositioning on a daily basis. I don't expect you to understand this part. So if you are here for the ICT 22 mentorship, this is not the time to test your knowledge on ICT, as in this is a little bit of bonus content since we are in a trade, because I get a lot of questions about how I manage my trades. This is a bit of bonus content on how I do that. Though I will bring these when I feel like it. Obviously, as I said, the danger of this is that I don't have a fixed way on when I get into my buy side liquidity, or how far, if I put 1 position or 2 position. So people who try to do this can get it wrong really easily, and then they will get caught and unfortunately potentially lose money. So this is why I always say, any of this video, don't take it as literal action, because I can tell you now it's not going to work. This is something that works for me, and you need to find what works for you. Now, as we can see, we've had the push down, and now the US market is pushing up. And that's what we're thinking. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait for a little bit. Unfortunately for the video, I am happy for this to be shorting this position. What does that mean? That I'm not going crazy about entering prices so I can get out, or if this potentially gives me an opportunity later in the day, or if I have to sleep because our baby is sleeping, I can manage this on the next day. But the key here is that when you see an opportunity and it aligns with what you want to do and the idea that you have, and it's a good position, you have to have the confidence to take that trade and that you're going to be managing out of it. So, and that's the key in trading. You're never going to have the perfect entries. But even if you don't have the perfect entries, you can manage every single trade quite comfortably. And that's what we're going to see hopefully tomorrow in another video. And as you can see, the live trade played out. So we had 10 pip delivery down there, closed for 12 pips. So we closed, we made, if we go on to positions, $566 for today. So $500 for the day is my target generally. So we're over that, super stoked with that. So what I also want to do is export now the information so we can put it into our journal. You know that I trade the Trade Sync. You can find in the description if you want for a discount and a bit of a trial, so you can try it out and see if you like it. But quickly, as it's getting late, so what we're going to do is go onto orders, export this, HTML, find the file, export it, save as, yes. And then what we're going to do is go on to Trade Sync. Okay, so here we are on Trade Sync. We're just going to add import trades, and then we're going to browse and pick up our file, upload that, import trades, and just like that, with a few clicks, that's going to update. And then we're going to jump onto our calendar, and there we go. We have our first 566. The monthly is coming along nicely, 6,169. As you've seen today, I withdrew 5,000 for this month. So anything from here on is pretty much a bonus. And what we're going to do is probably import that profits into our second account, which we're going to be copying to eventually want to double the profits, and that way we can make from 16 to 20k a month just by doing exactly the same thing using a copier. I know a lot of people will be interested to see how we do the copiers and so on, so that will be a video for the future. And as you can see, the chart has been updated. We're now at 66% of the profit. Our target is $10,000 to jump onto the next milestone, which will be the $250,000, which is going to be amazing. We're running on 87.69%. And as you can see, I can't click on withdrawal because I've already done it. And I've taken out 5K out of my equity. My equity in the account currently is sitting at, after taking out the so it was roughly around 15,000, and now I've got 10,000 in as a buffer for the account, and that's about it. I hope that has been useful. I've showed you a little bit about my trade this morning, which was shorting. Someone in the Discord was asking, how did you find that position short? And there you go. That's a bit of an explanation of why we went short. Now you have an understanding of how to set up buy side, short side liquidity, sell side liquidity, previous daily highs, and all the good stuff. And we also even talked a bit about my trading management. So there you go. You have it all. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video, which will include for sure the management of this trade. So have a good one, guys.
Running.